Hello everyone, have I got another sweet video for you today. I have promised in the past that I would record every single 5-0 that I get. Sorry, spoiler alert, and this was a sweet one. We actually made a 5-0, but we had a 10-0 in games, so perfect league, so I knew I had to record this for you. If you've watched my latest Jeskai Control video, you see that this is the exact same list, 100% the same, so I'm not going to go in detail, at least not as deeply as I did last time. I'll just show you what I have, 4 Brainstorm, 4 Ponder, pretty stock. I like the split of 18 lands and 4 Lorians, especially since I'm playing 1 Mystic Sanctuary. Lorien can get this, so I like that. Haven't really had any issues with 18 lands and 4 Lorien, really good. Then we have some forces, 2 for Force Negations, 2 Spell Pierce. Honestly, the Spell Pierce and the Force Negation are flex slots. I could see myself playing something else in there, especially now with Scam everywhere. I could see myself doing that, but I think they are flexible, so I do like them. Then we have Removal for Ending, 4 Swords, 1 Supreme Verdict, 2 Dress Down. And here we have the big beaters, 2 Teferi for Narset. Combination of Days Undoing with Narset is really great. Back to Basics is probably the best win condition in the deck. And then we have 2 4th Earlingus. Sideboard, again, no changes because I was very happy with the sideboard. 2 Pyroblasts, 2 Hydroblasts. I could see myself maybe going down on Hydroblasts because now with Goblins gone, maybe I should give that one a go. I don't think I would go lower than 1 because Moonstomp is still everywhere, so I was happy with it. Another Back to Basics because it's that good. Meltdown for Artifacts, Cages and Surgicals. I've tried playing 3 Grobdigger's Cages, but I really like having the Surgical. I also have the Rest in Peace here. I should probably put that one here. And then we have 2 Triumph for Delverisk decks, and we also have Lavinia. So pretty stock. I really wanted to get this video out before Modern Horizon 3 hits because I'm sure we will have some changes. Yeah, I mean we went 10-0, so we should have a sweet league. Let's dive in. Before we get started, don't forget to smash that follow button if you are enjoying this content, or subscribe button I should say. And thank you MTG for sponsoring this video. They are one of the best traders that you can find in Europe, and you can buy cards from them on Magic Card Market, but that's only true if you live in Europe, of course. So check out the description, I have a link to their store in there. Right, so without further ado, let's just dive in. So my last video, I didn't do sideboard discussions because I didn't feel like I was well versed enough in sideboarding yet. I will try and do this now. Now I am recording this not live. I am recording this after playing some games because I wasn't planning on going 5-0. So it's possible that I may forget some things, but I'll try and give you a general idea of what I did for sideboarding. Okay. So let's just run through this. This hand is fine. You have a Ponder in opening hand, then you have an Island, so that's pretty much a keep. My opponent also had to mulligan to 5, so that's we take those. So nice that we have Dress Down in the opening hand, and our opponent plays a Saga. So I'm just going to Ponder, and I was paused a bit too late, but you see here a Force Will and a Third Strand. Doesn't really matter what the other one is because I will take the Force Will. Keep in mind we have Flooded Strand on top. So we have the Saga. Then we have a Vault of Whispers. So okay, good to know. Looks like we are playing against the artifact-based deck. We should be good. If you play this chill, we have they mulligan to 5, so that's unlucky. And we also have a lot of counter magic here. So we will see why I like Spell Pierce in this matchup. So Entomb, able to Spell Pierce that. They will Entomb again. So I'm going to fetch. This is why, remember when I said that it wouldn't matter that you didn't see the 3rd card, because I knew I was going to Spell Pierce. I do fetch up a Tundra here. I need to because I have swords, and I really want to have access to white mana in case I needed to use it. I doubt the opponent's deck is playing Wasteland, so I felt fine doing this. So Spell Pierce the Entomb. They will get a mana. Now, they didn't really, we weren't even able to cash in here. So this is an interesting choice. I actually, so they Dark Ritualed here, and I decided not to counter the Dark Ritual. And the reason for this is that my opponent had just 2 cards in their hand. So I felt like if I was able to cash in the next spell, that would be better. And what are the odds of them having Thoughtseize here? They would have probably used that last time. So I figured they would not have Thoughtseize. And if they did, then they wouldn't have mana to actually cast the Beseech. So I felt this was fine. And we just win the game. All right, next one. So take a look at this opening hand. This is interesting, right? Before I go forward, I'd like to ask you the question to think about what you would do against this deck. Would you mulligan this or would you keep this? I'm sure that probably most of you would have just immediately mulliganed, but me asking the question is already kind of telling of what I did with this hand. And I actually kept. This is interesting, right? The thing is, I'm playing as a combo deck, and I really don't hate keeping hands like this against a combo deck, because keep in mind, the game is not going to be about me winning soon. When I'm playing control, like what you want to do is you don't want to die too early. I will find the land for sure. I have 18 lands in the deck, so I will find lands. So I was fine keeping this. I have triple Force Will and I have only blue cards. So what are they going to do? Thoughtseize me? That's not going to do a whole lot. So I felt fine with doing this. So here we go. They duress and you can see that I don't even care. In fact, they take Ponder. They don't even bother taking the Force Will. And now what happened? So my opponent has pretty much dropped down to 2 cards and they have done nothing. And I have lost like a Force Will. That's it. So I was perfectly fine with this, and I can play the draw go game all day long and feel happy about it. So we're gonna go draw go for a while, and I have this Volcanic Island now, so I can cash in Spell Pierce. Pretty much whatever I draw now is fine. Cantrips are good, which is 8 cards in the deck. I had 18 lands, Lorien as well, so we had around like over 30 cards we could draw that were good for us. And that's not even counting more counter magic, etc. So I was pretty happy. I just slammed down Narset here. I felt safe. Like, what are they going to take? We saw a lot of brainstorms there, so to take it. Even if they have Thoughtseize, like, what are they going to do? I don't care. You can take a Force Will. I have another one. And at this point, I felt really, really good. I have Meltdown. I just brainstorm first. I also have the Days Undoing, so that's really good. Put it on top. I don't feel like I really need it. Just going to get rid of the Vault of Whispers right now to get rid of the artifact, so they can't get rid of it when they play their combo card, and they just concede. So it shows you that it was the right call to actually use Meltdown here. As I said, my hand is just so filled and packed with good stuff that I don't really care about just getting rid of one land. I felt like this was good enough. So yeah, nice. Let's go to the next one. I'm on the play again for round 2. This hand's perfectly fine. Whenever you have Dress Down in the opening hand, it's really funny because I love the card, but I really would always want to have one in the opening hand. But I really have never thought about playing 3. Maybe I should, but I don't know. It feels like 2 is the correct number. So we just play the island. I'm not even bother going to Ponder here. I usually want to keep my my cantrips for as long as I can. The reason why I cantrip is because I want to find certain cards, and I didn't know what I was up against, so why would I turn 1 Ponder? What am I looking for? I already have Force of Will, so I felt like, yeah, it's better to just not do anything here. So they play Misty Rainforest. I could see myself maybe cantripping here to play around Bowmasters, but, still I had Dress Down, so I didn't feel like I really needed to do that anytime soon. So I just played a Flooded Strand and pass because I'm hoping to brainstorm and shuffle away some bad cards. If I find them, we shall see. Burn plays Wooded Foothills, so I'm like, okay, I mean, again, if we're going to be playing draw go game, I'm fine with this. So I decided to brainstorm here and walk straight into a Bowmasters. I had Force of Will, and I could pay for the days if they had it, so I felt okay doing this. It was just something to note. So we have the brainstorms, a lot of lands here, a bit land heavy, so I don't need all of them. I am going to draw one of them because I do like lands. I'm just going to put them on top in case I need to find some action spells. So here I'm just going to Ponder. We see Swords, Plains Flooded. I really want to have that sword, so I have removal and pass. I have the best win condition in the deck here, Back to Basics, so I really want to find the spot to just resolve Back to Basics and win. It's that good. Back to Basics is so powerful. But my opponent is going draw go the entire time, so as I said before, that's the game that I want to play. I'm thinking about whether or not I should now crack the fetch land, and I think, I already have Prismatic Fist there, so I have 4 mana next turn. I have all my basics, so I'm like, yeah, I think it's okay for me to just crack the land. Vista, and I'm going to be playing Narset here. I think that's a good spot to play it. We do use the ability, and now our opponent's going to get some lands. They play Violent Outbursts, so that was something I was, I'm not going to lie, not respecting at this point. I mean, we only saw Misty and Wooded, so what I do is I force, and they pitch Ice to their force forcing my dress down. Reason, of course, being that I want to have back to basics as my win condition. Now, luckily for me, I still have Supreme Verdict, so I should be able to get rid of this of these Rhino tokens. Kind of hoping that they actually use the Rhino tokens next time, or make another Cascade spell. That would be good. Take the Brainstorm. I'm gonna dig for some stuff. Now, this Prismatic Fist will probably need to fetch up a Plains, because I don't really need a mountain yet. So they slam in. I'm assuming that they're going to kill Narset, which they do. I decide to swords here. And they actually force my swords. So what you see is that they attacked me. I tried to swords the Rhino that was attacking Narset. I really wanted it to seem like I cared a lot about it, which I didn't. So that was just baiting out some removal spells. And it worked. It was nice that they removal spells, counter magic. It worked. They actually pitched Brazen Borrower to this, so I was not unhappy with that exchange. Let me just keep this one pop open. There we go, that's better. Okay, so they just play a bunch of lands. I'm not unhappy here at this point. Feel like well, doing pretty good, doing pretty well. You know, trying to control the game as best as I can. All right, drew Force Will, perfect. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to play Back to Basics. Back to Basics is so good. Honestly, they need to do stuff. So I felt this was safe. Also, me having Lorien is really good because I can pitch it to Force. Or if I really want to have Lorien, I'm really hoping to cash in Lorien, draw 3 cards. So if they go for it, we will see which cards I'm going to use. And it's interesting. So they played Lorien, and I just let it resolve. That's how much I do not care about what they were trying to do. And the reason why I did this is mainly because them playing Lorien means they have now just tapped 4 lands. My guess is that they have some way to get rid of Back to Basics, and that's why they are playing the Lorien. So I just let Lorien happen, and I figure that I have my own Lorien, and I just want to prevent them from having a way to get rid of Back to Basics. So Ponder finds Teferi, so I definitely want to play that one. So I'm just going to slam it down, see what they have. They do not do anything, so I felt fine just minusing here. Not having the ability potentially to bounce a Rhino, but I was okay with this. Since I have a Teferi now, if they go for a Cascade spell, I can very easily just force this and feel happy. Here they have Brazen Borrower, so what I think the game is now about is them not being able to have threats. Because they are a bit mana screwed at this point, and I feel like if they want to have a way to get some Rhinos on the table, they need mana. So I felt like I just don't want to have them, I don't want them to have threats, and next time what I'm going to do is I'm just going to plus Teferi. So I now have Teferi, which I can plus. So again, the goal here is to play Lorien and draw 3. And even if they have the ability to play the Rhinos, I should be able to get rid of a bunch of them. Maybe draw Force will counter this. I haven't seen that many forces yet. Let's see, 2 of them. I also have Force Negation, so I was fine with this. Here we see them getting Volcanic. So you can see that playing the Back to Basics was definitely the right choice. What I'm going to do here is they try and get rid of Teferi. Honestly, I don't really care all that much. I find a way to counter this, so I decide to do so. I felt like that was the correct choice. I really want to keep the Teferi alive, especially with me having 4th Illingus. I knew that if at any point I draw land here, or Lorien, I think we just win on the spot. So I'm going to get Narset, not afraid of not finding a blue card. I mean, I get to see 4 cards, so then again, even if I whiff, they only have a forest and an island now to cast spells, so I really felt like I had this game under full control, and they just concede here, as I think that was the correct choice for them. I remember I forgot to discuss sideboarding for the first round. I'll try and remember for the next ones. So what we want to do against Rhinos is it's pretty straightforward. It's a combo deck, so Pyroblast is really good, so I brought in Pyroblast, Back to Basics, and Lavinia. That's pretty much it. I could see myself bringing Triumph because they trade very favorably with the Rhinos, and if you have that, they don't really have any way to stop this from happening. Again, it's a combo deck. What I don't really like against Rhinos is Dress Down. It was not that great. It's not that important in the matchup. I could see myself shaving some number of prismatic endings or swords. I don't think that's what the game is about. Sometimes they will get it through though, so you don't want to cut all of them, and that's pretty much it. So very easy sideboarding. Let's go to game 2. So this opening hand is pretty good. I need lands, that's for sure, but I have Ponder and Brainstorm and another Ponder, so I should be able to find the lands that I need. Really don't want to fetch up a mountain with this Prismatic Vista too soon, so we will see how that shapes out. My opponent has Mulligan to 6, so we take those. They start with Hedge Maze, so where is my Back to Basics? Really want to have that one. Okay, so my turn. They put Fire Ice in the graveyard, which makes sense. I'm not sure why they kept it in, probably just to get rid of Teferi. Drawing another Force is really nice. This is why I also like Force Negations. So Ponder was bad because it didn't have a land, so I'm going to shuffle. It was really that easy. The turn played a drop. I really want to find Back to Basics here. Usually they do respect this. Okay, so I played a Vista, you know, I can, if I need to, I can find Pyroblast depending on what they do. Again, game plan here is to just hopefully be able to brainstorm at the end of their turn, but we'll see. So they double Lorien. Here's what they reveal. They just play Island and Volcanic, getting the basics as they should. You know, they don't play the basic, which is interesting because if I had back the basics here, I would probably just slam it down with me having double Force. Anyway, I'm going to brainstorm. So not the best here. The land that I found is not really what you want. But okay, I'll take it. You know, it wasn't bad or anything. I just want to be able to make a land drop every turn. And what if I fetch and I don't find one? That's what I didn't want to do. Okay, so we have Crashing Footfalls. I will pitch a Ponder to this because I have another Ponder. So what I need to do here is I need to Pyroblast their Force Will. It's nice, but keep in mind that I do not now have white mana to cast a Fairy, which is unfortunate. But then I mean I'm not cashing this in. My opponent has 2 cards left, so there's no way I'm not doing this. I still have Ponder left, so I should be able to find a white mana if I need it. Okay, so they play an Island. I untap and I want to draw a card, but they have a response. Nope, they do not. So let's Ponder first. I just want to shuffle if I don't find a white source. So you can see that in the upkeep they were thinking about using the Violent Outburst. What I'm going to do here is I'm just going to force pitching a Brainstorm because I have another one, and I really want to keep Teferi because it's insanely good in the matchup. So what we're going to do here is we just want to find the land and be able to play the Teferi. I'm thinking here because you did see that I brought in Triumph. I think if we resolve that one, we just win. But I decide that I don't need it. If I have Teferi, it's good enough too. They only have 1 card in hand, so even if they do play Daze and they want to Daze Teferi, so be it. I just draw and I draw into Lavinia, and at this point I felt like I had full control of the game. So here we go, they played the Spirit Guide. That's desperation. Then again, what else are they going to do with it? They want to kill Teferi, so I'm thinking maybe Lavinia now, if I want to block the Simian Spirit Guide, and I think I do. I think I just want to have Teferi because it's just insanely good in the matchup. We draw Lorien, which is nice. So just going to plus. Always do this first because, trust me, I've forgotten to do that first as well. Okay, so we find a bunch of lands. So the idea here is to now play Lavinia, block the Simian Spirit Guide, and a turn afterwards I can just cash in the Lorien at instant speed with Teferi. So yeah, pretty good. So here we go, they slam in. I can see why they would think that I would not block, right? But I think Teferi is just better than Lavinia. So I don't want to draw the land, so I'm just gonna play, get a Plains, play another Island, plus, pass. Teferi makes it really good because you don't have to worry about pretty much anything they do. So here's we're gonna, for people who notice, here's what happens. If you actually have Crashing Footfalls, Teferi says you can't cast these things, but you can only cast things at sorcery speed. So if you cascade into a spell, it doesn't work. So I just play the Lorien Revealed. I kept open 1 Plains because if I hadn't swords, I would have probably in the end step swords straight away. But I'm like, okay, sure. Now the thing is, do I want a Supreme Verdict or do I just want a 4th Erlingus? And honestly, at this point, again, I can't see myself losing at in this stage of the game, so I just decide to play the 4th. I have Flooded Strand left for if I do find a swords. I'm just going to attack with 2 of them, so I definitely have the Monarch. Even if they block, then I can leave 2 back, so they can't take the Monarch and they can't attack Teferi. So I take the Monarch. Yep. Go to the end step and draw a card. Card I picked up was Back to Basics, so I think that's game over. But they just conceded before I was able to cast this one. Nice, very controlly game. So good stuff. Round 3. All right, this is my opening hand for round 3. Hand is solid. You have cantrips, you have swords, you have Lorians, so pretty much everything that you want. Cool thing you can do is you can brainstorm in the turn and your upkeep actually cycle the Lorien to get a fetch land in that sense. So maybe we will see what we did. Here they crop rotated, so that was like all in turn 1. And I was like, I'm going to dig for Force of Will. Didn't find one. That's unfortunate. But if I had found one, this would definitely be just forcing the crop rotation. That's just such a big swing. They play Sphere of Resistance. Now, honestly, Sphere of Resistance is not that great against Jeskai because we play so many lands. Don't get me wrong, it's not bad. It's just not as impactful. Probably my opponent thought that I was on Infect, as everyone does. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to try and find the land every single turn and play it. So here we cycle the Lorien, get an island. They bauble a bit, draw some cards. Now keep in mind that they do not have a way to make green mana right now, which is interesting. So they played a Mox Diamond. Nothing I can do about that. You know what I like about Jeskai 2 is that these wastelands are so bad. If your deck can not care about wasteland, it's so powerful. It really is. Love it. Okay, so they played a Raman up. We can't have that now, can we? So I'm just going to swords that one away. And I drew Prismatic Ending, really good, because what I can do now is I can get rid of Mox Diamond. You can see how much I do not care about this Sphere of Resistance. It doesn't stop me from doing my thing right now. And currently they have 0 green mana. So what they're going to have to do is they're going to have to Ghost Quarter their own land in order to get a forest in here. So that was pretty hilarious. Now they do get the Life from the Loam, so it does make sense. I can see why they would do that. No way for me to actually get rid currently of the Life from the Loam. I want to find Force of Negation because then get exiled. Notably, last turn I did not play Back to Basics. There's a reason for this. I wanted to cash in the Back to Basics the best I could. So currently with my hand, they need to do something, right? So I expect them to tap out or get some stuff in here, and then I could use the Back to Basics and really punish them for doing that. Okay, so we brainstorm. You can see that I have some bad stuff I want to put on top. Now, with me having found Teferi, this does change things because I was actually planning on just using the Back to Basics straight away. However, with them having the Loam, I felt like Teferi here is just better. I could also later still play the Teferi. I knew about Prismatic Ending. Sorry, I meant to say that I could still play Back to Basics later, but I wanted to have Teferi. So I put Prismatic Ending on top. I felt like I was going to need it, potentially to get rid of this Sphere of Resistance, but mainly, you know, to get rid of other stuff, other threats, stuff that I care about. So I'm just going to plus. What I want to do here is that now I want to play Back to Basics because they are tapped out, right? So now they have 1 green that untaps. Next turn, Prismatic Ending, get rid of the Sphere or get rid of whatever they may have and control the game from there. And you can see that waiting really paid off because Back to Basics and I just win. Cool. Let's go to sideboarding. So sideboarding against lands, what you want to do is you pretty much just want to stop Loam from happening. You don't really care about all that much else. So Back to Basics, of course, a house in the matchup. Then Rest in Peace, Surgical. Not all that much I really want, if I'm being honest. What else do we have that's not the greatest is... I have, yeah, a bunch of cards I want to take out. Do not cut Force Negations. They are excellent. I'm just going to talk about some stuff that I would consider taking out because I don't remember exactly what I took out. Spell Pierce, not the greatest, so that's one to target. I could see myself cutting some number of forces. Definitely not Force Negations, but any other of these things. Maybe one last set. I could see myself cutting that, and that's the first thing that I'm looking at. All right, game number 2. So this opening hand here, pretty solid. Again, we have cantrips. We have a way to stop them from doing their game plan, being dressed down. The only thing I'm really afraid of usually against lands is mostly dress down. It's that powerful. Funny thing here, keep in mind that if your opponent plays Yavimaya I mean Yavimaya Cradle of Growth, now your Prismatic Ending can actually hit for X's 3. So because you now gain green. They crop rotate here into as a Saga, but that's good for me because I have Dress Down. So again, even on the draw, this sphere is not going to do all that much. And even if I had a Force Will here, I would have not used it to counter Exploration because that's not what the game is about. They have 0 cards in hand, so what do I care? So I just want to draw lands here, and the pond did not find lands, so I just shuffled them away. Really expect to cash in that Dress Down. Prismatic Ending, really good draw. You can see me here deciding not to do anything. I think the goal here is clear. What I want to do is next turn they will have a bunch of tokens that they can attack me with. So I just want to Dress Down and survive. So I have time. And then probably just get rid of the mocks on the swing back, you know, prevent them from having mana. And this sphere has almost never done anything. That just shows you how much it's possible that it's not good enough. So I decided to wait for as long as possible. Sometimes they play the boots, and I was hoping that they would equip and tap out. Now I have drawn into Back to Basics, so that does change things. I have also drawn Meltdown, so that also changes things. 2 very good draws. I just play Meltdown here and shoot Mox, Sphere, and Expedition Map. Yikes, very painful, and they concede. Nice. I'm not sure if I even told you that I would bring in Meltdown. So yeah, that's another one that I forget. Definitely bring in the Meltdowns because the artifacts are powerful from on their end. So good stuff. Let's go to round 4. On a draw this time. This hand's fine. I have Lorien to find the stuff that I need. Now, currently, you see that my hand wasn't excellent. I will probably have to fetch up a Tundra with Lorien, but I mean, I had a lot of stuff going on. So playing against some build of Scam, which is always scary, you should never Force Will the Grief, because it will come back, and then what would you do? Now they play Chromox here, and they cycle Troll of Khazad-dûm, and I was at this point unsure what I was up against, because I'm not used to seeing Chromox, and look at this, what's happening. We are seeing currently white, black, red, blue, so this was good stuff, Scam. They just want to play everything. I felt like, okay, my opponent has used up everything, as Scam usually does, so what I want to do is I want to slow the game down, so I just do not want them to have Bowmasters. So I just forced that. I could have also gotten rid of it with Ending, but I feel like I just don't want these things resolving. Again, with my opponent already down to 2 cards, I felt like I was able to do this. Here I just slam down Narset. I figure that if I'm playing against 4-color or even 5-color good stuff, Scam, I doubt they were able to play Daze, so I figured that's why it would be better to do this. Okay, they reanimate Grief, that's unfortunate. They take Back the Basics, as they should, I believe. But okay, let's just see what we get. Okay, finding a Force Will is really good, so I can now very safely Teferi. I was kind of hoping that they would force back, but they didn't. And I was happy to just get rid of the Grief. Sure, they can replay it, but then they throw down another card from their hand, so I'm okay with this. They play Leyline Binding, and they have the Triumph, so it's very clear that this was indeed, you know, good stuff, Scam. But it has a Scam package, so that just works. So I feel like I have full control of the game currently. What I want to do is not lose anytime soon, so I'm just going to pick all these removal spells, let them play their stuff, and just get rid of it. That's pretty much the game plan. So Bombardier here, I'm going to use the endings when I can. So I used white, red, blue, 3 mana, just get rid of it. I knew I had a Swords on top, so I'm feeling very safe at this point. Fetch. Probably play the Grief that they had. There we go. So I'm just going to let them take it. And this is interesting, right? I decide to not Swords right away. Now, honestly, it doesn't matter. I wanted to see what I would draw first before swordsing. I could have also just not waited. But I did like waiting, because now I have more information. So now I know that I can just swords that one. Prismatic Ending of the Broadside. Who knows? Maybe I needed to play this differently if they had another spell, but you know, they do have good draws. They are playing threat after threat, which is yeah, I clearly made the right choice to keep all the removal spells, because I'm going to if the game goes long, I'm very favored. Okay, Flooded Strand. I can soon start returning stuff from the yard, which I do here. So I just put the Lorien on top, immediately play it after drawing it to Teferi. They couldn't flash in Bowmasters in response since I have Teferi, so I felt safe doing that. I was willing to take this risk. I mean, I had swords here. With me drawing so many cards, I knew that I would find something, right? I'm going to plus. What I want to do here is just wait for as long as I can, give them that smudge of hope, and then crush their dreams. So, swords, that one. I'm going to take the one from Teferi. And end step, brainstorm. See what we find, get rid of some bad stuff. Don't want to have counter magic anymore at this point. And then ponder, see what we find. Okay, so plussing. I'm just going to chill. Keep in mind that I can Lorien at instant speed now. So even though this is good stuff, we are mainly playing against the usual scam build because it's just scam with some added value in there. And here they're going to cast the Troll of Khazad-dûm. So let's see what we find. So that resolves. I've gone through half of my deck, so pretty much any card that I want to find. I feel like I'm sure the Troll is unfortunate, but I felt like I'm going to find the stuff that I need. I'm just going to play another Narset. I have 2 more Narset, so... But at this point, what I want to do is I either want to find Fourth Alingus and just win from there, or find Days Undoing, or Swords, or, you know, the board wipe. Board wipe would be really good. Supreme Verdict. That's what I was looking for. I felt in full control, even with them having the Troll. There were so many ways I could have gotten rid of it. Scion of Draco. Now that's something that I do not want. Their draws have been hot, you know, threat after threat, but I currently have control, so all good. I'm thinking here about whether or not I should Prismatic Ending the token, but I feel like I probably shouldn't. Doesn't feel right to me. So just chilling. On their turn, they attack with a token on Teferi. Sure, I've plus Teferi so I can cast Lorien. Again, I'm in full control. I can get rid of this Troll whenever I want to. If I find fourth, I just win. So at this point, I'm like, I'm just gonna slam in everything. I left open 2 mana here, so I could Force Negation and Spell Pierce and Prismatic Ending if I wanted to. I'm not gonna lose this game. But my opponent tries to go on. Well, so be it. Scion here is interesting, so I figure now's the time to just get rid of this one. I do not want them having the Monarch. Not going to happen. Okay, so play this. Play Teferi. Bounce. I bounce the Scion with the other Teferi. Just slam in with everything. I also have Dress Down, so I know that I can get rid of the abilities of Scion if I want to. They swords. They actually sword one of my tokens. But I counter this because that means I can now slam in for exactly 6 and kill them. Alright. Sideboarding for this one was not easy because I didn't even know what stuff they had. It was a good stuff deck, so they could have had everything. So I'm just going to tell you what I think is always good against scam builds. So against scam, what I really, really like is the Lavinia. That's really, really good in here. Well, you know, play Rest in Peace, play the Surgicals. You also have the Gravedigger's Cages. Pretty much all standard stuff. I think I did forget that I'm playing 1 card different, Doorkeeper Thrall. I'm playing that one currently in my deck, and I wasn't playing it in this league because, you know, you face a lot of scam in leagues, but I think you should be playing this Doorkeeper Thrall, also very good against the matchup. I think I recently cut 1 Rest in Peace for 1 Thrall because Rest in Peace is a bit too slow, if I remember correctly, but this is fine. That's pretty much what I brought in. Against scam, you know, a lot of cards that are not that great, so cards I'm looking towards are maybe trimming down some number of forces because they don't really do a whole lot against turn 1 Grief, so I cut a number of those. Spell is also not excellent, but you just want to have all of your removal spells. I think those are important. Let's watch the second game. See, I knew it. I knew I changed something. It's really nice that this comes up. So I put in Doorkeeper Thrall and I just checked. So what I did is I actually cut down on the Surgical, and instead of the Surgical, I'm playing 1 Doorkeeper Thrall, which is much better because against scam, Surgical not that great, Thrall really great. So I'm actually happy that I'm able to show you how good it is. Keep that in mind. I will adjust this in the content below. So the deck list that you can see in the link is correct. The one that I discussed in the beginning, instead of Surgical, just Doorkeeper Thrall, but luckily for us, it didn't come up a whole lot. Okay, so mulligan to 6 from my opponent, so I'm going to keep this hand solid. Only one lands, unfortunate. Really wish that I could not fetch up my Tundra, but maybe I'll have to do that. So the layout of Anticipation is very interesting, and here they just get Carpet of Flowers. Yeah, that's neat, dude. But honestly, what has he done now? So he's down to 3 cards, and I can play around pretty much everything that currently they have, especially with me having Prismatic Ending. So I figured I'm just going to get rid of Carpet. And if that works, I think we are well ahead. Which happens. So, okay, I like that. So here we have the Tundra that I needed to get. So very afraid of Wasteland here. Luckily for us, they did not have it. Gonna Brainstorm straight away. Definitely want to have those lands. I'm going to hide the Doorkeeper Thrall on top because I think it's one of the best cards in the matchup. And the safest place to put your cards against Grief is on top of your library. So that's where I put it. It's interesting to me that they did not take the Doorkeeper Thrall. I would have expected them to take that, but I guess they were betting on me having Mana Screw, but I had Brainstorm, so I don't think that's correct. So I just fetch. Gonna get basics. Play the Doorkeeper Thrall. Keep in mind, I even fetched away my back to basics. Simple, they have Leyline, so they can have everything with their plains and their swamp. So I figured I don't really need this. Doorkeeper Thrall is so good. It stops the entire deck. Grief no longer works. Bowmaster's it's just a 1/1 that enters. It's so good. So they sort of ferry. I feel like I'm completely in the driver's seat right now. Here we go. Here we go. So Bowmasters. I'm like, yeah, sure. Doesn't do anything. I reveal Triumph. Very good in the matchup. This is the Delver-esque deck, so another one that I forgot about. And here they Leyline Binding. I'm not going to let that one happen. So I pitch another Narset. And here we can see that we have 4th Elingus. Very, very good. I even... yeah, I can't see myself losing from this spot, I think. Pernicious Deed. I'm just going to let it happen. I don't care. What are they going to do? Destroy their own Bowmasters and kill Doorkeeper Thrall? So be it. Don't really care. So I just play Teferi. Going to plus. They're not going to do anything. They need to block with Bowmaster. They're dead. So I'm just going to slam in here. They block. I'm going up to a healthy 27 life. And if you look at my hand, again, we are in full control right now. Red Elemental Blast onto Teferi. I decide to counter. I want to keep it. Mainly because it has 6 counters on it already. And now I Brainstorm a response that I'm getting the Bowmasters. So I set it up in such a way that I'm just going to win here. Okay. Again, Bowmasters. Doorkeeper Thrall. Completely shutting it down. I think it's very clear. You can just see how powerful this was, right? The Doorkeeper Thrall just insanely, by an insane amount, stopped the deck from functioning. What it is, I actually bounced the Pernicious Deed here because the idea was I was actually hoping that they would, in response, fire off the Savannah and Scrubland and killing Doorkeeper Thrall, but also Bowmasters. That was the idea. They didn't fall for it, though, and they just get an Orc. Okay, so be it. I was happy with that as well. So then I have to block, and I still have swords, etc. So if they don't fire it off, that's also fine. It was like a win. Whatever you do, it's a win for me. Now they do not do anything, and in the end, I'm going to swords here. Again, the idea being that if they want to not lose, they have to. Doesn't really matter. They lose anyway. What's going to happen is if they swords, they go up to 6, so they could potentially Pernicious Deed after swordsing. Then they get rid of Doorkeeper Thrall. And then if I attack with Triumph, they go to 1. But keep in mind I had 4th Elingus in hand, so I was playing around that. I had 4, so I could not lose after making this play. Alright, last round. Playing against the one and only Neville Shoot. They are always, well, not always, but usually they are on Doomsday. Then again, always. I don't think I've ever... Let me put it this way. I've never played against them and then when they weren't on Doomsday. So this hand's fine. It's just missing a land here, so I can't keep, unfortunately. But this is okay. I have my Force of Negation. I'm going to try and find some more counter magic. So you can see me here putting the Brainstorm on top. And the main idea is that I do not want to draw the Spell Pierce now because I expect that they will maybe Thoughtseize away my Force of Negation. And I do not want them to know that I have Spell Pierce. So that was the idea. And if it doesn't work, then I'm just going to draw a Spell Pierce and they still don't know what I had. So I was okay with this. Doomsday, of course, getting Personal Tutor getting the Doomsday. So I'm just gonna chill. I do remember this was a really, really fun game. They stifle my fetch land, and I'm not even gonna spell pierce because I knew I had Prismatic Ending, sorry, Prismatic Feaster and Lorien, so no need to stifle there. Couldn't care less, honestly. So they ponder. In fact, if they stifle my Prismatic Feaster here again, I still do not care, because in this matchup, you generally just need blue. Okay, so I'm going to play the island, pass. Now, Doomsday has recently started adopting Bowmasters, so you have to be careful about that. So here they Doomsday and After Dark Ritualing, and they Dark Ritual again, and I was able to spell pierce that. So that was a really nice sequence. Waiting for the Doomsday, countering that one, and then being able to spell pierce the other one. Really sweet. Finding Dress Down, really good in this matchup, because if they are able to Doomsday, I can then Dress Down after they play the Merfolk. Name, I can't remember the name, but you know, the win condition, you know what I'm talking about. So here they play the Doomsday. I'm just going to force that one. Kind of hoping that they force back, but they do not, since I knew that I had Dress Down. Brainstorm. And here we have the win condition itself, back to basics. Now, what I don't want to do is, at this point, I was a bit afraid, because if I back the basics here and they daze, yikes, because I would have to shuffle away the Dress Down, and that's just, I can't do that. So even though I really wanted to, because they tapped 3 lands, what if it failed? And luckily I did so, because here they do counter. So that was a good decision on our part. I'm just going to pop these open here. So they ponder. Again, if you've watched my Infect content, you know that I'm usually a very safe player, and I try to do that approach as well when I'm playing Control. Thoughtseize away the Dress Down, that's unfortunate, but so be it. Decide to shuffle away the card on top, get another island here in case I find back the basics, and lo and behold, we find back the basics, we play it, and we win. That's back to basics. I love the card. I could sing a million songs about the card. It's just so powerful. It really is. It wins so many games on its own. So very nice. And at this point, they have 1 island, so I'm like, yeah, I think we've got this in the pocket. If I find 1 more blue card, you know, being able to counter 1 more should be good. Let's see, how many Doomsdays have they used? So 1, 2 Doomsdays. So still enough left in the deck. A lot of good draws here. A land would have been good. Another blue card would have been good. But now, you know, really hoping that they don't go for Doomsday this turn, so I could potentially start hard casting the Force of Wills. But I want to play around days, so if I really want to hard cast the forces, I would only do that if I had 6 lands. Now, we do draw Teferi, and I'm like, yep, that should be good enough. See what they do. They force. And I'm thinking here, do I even want to fight over this? Because now they have an empty hand, so no. Really good that we played around days. It's lovely when you can see that your strategy is working out, because now, if you would hard cast the Force of Will, they would have been able to daze, so that's why you want to play around it the best you can. Okay, so Flooded Strand here, really good. So I'm going to fetch, I'm going to find the Mystic, and I'm going to take the Ponder. At this point, I just want to find a win condition. Can't imagine them having a lot left. So here they're Bowmasters, and I decide to force this. And the main reason for this is that at this point, I think the way the game is set up, they have 1 island, right? So I feel like if I can just stop Bowmasters, that's their win condition, I will take over the game, especially with me having Narset. So I felt fine doing this. So Lorien here, just going to play it. Cash in some cards, playing around, tapping out with back to basics. So, getting some cards, Prismatic Vista here. A lot of blue cards drawn, but okay, I guess I can't complain. I have Spell Pierce now, which can counter pretty much everything relevant they do. Found another Narset, gonna play it, keep that one. Found Force of Will. Decide not to take the ferry. I'd rather have a Force, you know, be safe. And I have another Narset anyway, so I will find my win condition, but I just want to be safe. So it is interesting. I have Days Undoing, but at this point of the game, I feel like, do I really want to do this now? I just want to chill. I want to play it safe. Kind of hoping that I just get lands, or get, if they even have lands left in the deck, because we already have 4 seeds that they've played. And now I feel like, okay, Days Undoing, if this resolves, I just win. What I'm going to do here is I'm just going to get my basics, try and prevent that from happening, force negation, and I'm really hoping that I get to cash in all of my cards, and then just have them, not draw cards. Boom. I did want to shuffle and find my my lands, because I felt like at this point I didn't want to draw lands. I just wanted to fire all gas. And with me having 4th Elingus, I just go for it here, tap all my basics. I still have swords and force up, so I can't see myself losing. Even if they have Thoughtseize to get rid of a forcible, I have another one, and I can swords potentially. Okay, so that was a cool game. A lot of interesting decisions, and we shall go to sideboarding first. So for sideboarding, and I have now put the correct list on the screen. Again, only change was 1 surgical for 1 doorkeeper thrill. That's it. Now this was relevant because entering the battlefield doesn't cause abilities to trigger, so Thrall is really good against Doomsday. So you bring it in. Back to Basics was really good. You saw how good it was. Pyroblast really great. Lavinia also very good. I could see myself, if I have room, to bring in Triumph to try and win the game a bit quicker. But you don't really need it. It's just an option that you can do. So what do we take out? Pretty straightforward. Removal, it's not that great. However, we saw that they had Bowmasters, so do not take out all your removal. And sometimes they have a situational sideboard where in the sideboard they bring in threats against decks like these, anticipating that you board out removal. So never board out everything. So I did trim Prismatic Endings a lot because I think those are the worst. You try and keep in more swords because you can also, in response to the Merfolk coming into the battlefield, you can swords it, and then sometimes they don't win immediately because they do not have enough loyalty to blue. That's the first card I was watching towards. I don't really like Supreme Verdict here either, so basically removal first, that's the idea. Okay, let's go to the last one. Opening hand here, medium. Is not bad, but it just wasn't good enough. I just had 1 pierce in there, a lot of lands, so I felt like if I want to win this game, I should not keep this. Now, this is much better. However, I only have the Lone Mystic Sanctuary, so I will not be able to... I'm really afraid of turn 2, because if they have Days, this will be punishing. But I had Triple Force, so I felt like I think I can keep this. It was now a debate between should I cut swords or pyroblast, should I put it on the bottom, and I think the way the game works here is that swords is by far the worst one, and I'd rather have the pyroblasts. That was at least my idea. So currently it's not looking that they are going to be able to go for it turn 2, so that's good for us. Now, no land. So that's a bit iffy. I'm going to brainstorm, and you can see that we are in trouble because I did not find the land. So I was like, yikes, it's going to be difficult. So now I already spoiled you that it was going to be a 10-0. So we did win here, but it was a slog fest. We had to really navigate our way through this. Now we do have a lot of forcibles, so I was like, yeah, me whiffing means it signals to them that they have to go for it now. So I was anticipating them doing that, so I kept all the blue cards that I could possibly have in my hand. Okay, so they brainstorm, dig for some cards, really hoping that they just don't have Thoughtseize. That would be ideal. So they go for Doomsday. Nice, that's what I was hoping for, and I was expecting them to do this. So they force back on my Force Will, and now I'm going to force a negation, getting rid of the Doomsday. Cool. So I put a blue card on top and the red one third, because I knew that if this exchange was going to happen, I wanted to have as much force as I could. And generally against Doomsday, if you can set it up in such a way that you don't lose the first couple of turns, you should be good, as is happening right now. So again, Dark Ritual, gonna let that one happen. We have Harvester of Misery. I'm just gonna counter that one. I'm gonna pop it on the screen here because I'm sure that a lot of people maybe not know what the card is. I had to read it myself too, if I'm being honest. So 5/4 Menace. It enters at a creature's -2/-2. Not relevant for us. But for 2 discard, target creature gets -2/-2. So interesting that they brought it in. I expect that they were thinking that I was playing Monastery Mentor, as a lot of these Jeskai builds do. But it basically was just a threat, and I didn't have removal, and I was slow, so I needed to get rid of it. That's if I had swords, of course, I wouldn't have counted. But okay, so we know that we are now very, very heavily favored, especially with me having to find Pyroblasts. So Turok, that's not going to resolve. Now, they have 0 cards in hand, but I have just 1. So, okay, we could be in trouble, but top deck mode is generally favorite for us. I have that back to basics, and I'm thinking, can I pull it off? Honestly, I might just do it. If I can favorably cast back to basics here, I might have done so if they would tap out. Now, the way the game is set up, I fetched. So I did fetch up planes, getting rid of the back to basics, and I just drew another one, which is hilarious, but okay, so be it. Undercity Sewers. Put Petal into the yard. I'm just afraid of them having Doomsday. But if they want to find Doomsday with their cantrips, I have Pyroblast. So I was not unhappy currently. I felt like the game was favoring me. And there were a lot of good draws that I could find. If I have one more land, I would definitely just play back to basics. Ideally, after they tap out, and this is the time to go for it, right? So you can see me just. I'm gonna play back to basics and I'm gonna win the game. That's what I was saying here. Sure, I only have planes now, but again, I felt like this favors me. I think I have a better shot at this, just tapping out and playing the back to basics. So that was a cool play. I'm curious to see how many of you would have made this decision, but well, it paid out in the end. So we're gonna have a bit of draw go here. So finding Lorien is nice. They played a Petal, so I was a bit afraid here. I was like, ooh, please do not go for Doomsday. But even if they have the Doomsday, it's still not game over. So here I fetch and they stifle my fetch. Okay by me because I have Lorien, so that's fine. It's a card that's rid out of their hand, so I'm just going to get my island. Now it does mean that I was not able to fetch up my my mountain, which is something that I was intending to do in response to them casting the Ponder. So be it. Okay, so here we're gonna cycle Lorien again. As I said, this benefits me because I play a lot of basics and they do not. So I knew that this was fine. I have another back to basics. What I'm going to do here is I'm just going to slam it down because sometimes they have ways to get rid of back to basics. And if they dazed this one, I was perfectly happy with that. Couldn't care less. Okay, so they play a land. Find Lorien, it's fine. I can get another island. So this was a long game. So we have Predict, unfortunately, it didn't find my mountain, so that's going to resolve. They targeted me, by the way, and they named Ponder, which was not on top. Teferi was on top. So Lorien, cycle, get a land. Find another land, so okay. So be it. I'm not going to play the Flooded here because, again, I only have one mountain and one volcanic, so I was not going to be able to find this. Bowmasters don't really care all that much. I will just swords it straight away. But I don't feel like it was that big of a deal at this point of the game. Thoughtseize, get rid of the Pyroblast. That's fine. I wasn't able to cast it anyway. They brainstorm, so not feeling very good at this point. Felt like the game was slowly slipping away from me. They daze here. No, that's cool. I'm able to pay for this, so okay, sure. And that's a good setup. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to take the Spell Pierce first, because the only thing I was afraid of is them being able to Doomsday here at this exact spot. And if they go for that now, they need triple black. So if they do that, that means they only have one blue, unless they had Dark Ritual, but then I wouldn't have been able to do anything about it anyway. And now I can safely play the Teferi, just bounce the threat that they had, play some lands. And that Spell Pierce is looking pretty good now. And here we have the Doomsday, Spell Pierce it, and they concede. So that was a really cool game. We really navigated our way excellently through this, I believe. And it's funny because I only look at the clock. I still have 50 minutes on the clock, and the combo player had 6. So that's interesting. That was the deck. Jeskai, honestly, when it does its thing, it does feel powerful. I really like the deck. I think the game plan is solid. It's different from Infect, and I had definitely... I can't know, of course, but my gut feeling is always that I get a bunch of free wins because people put me on Infect. So try the deck out. It's really, really fun. I'm going to be playing this more, and every 5-0 that I get with both Infect and Control or other decks is going to be recorded. So yeah, let's see if we find another one. I'm sure that Modern Horizons will shake up the format a bit. So that was it. If you have enjoyed this, don't forget to smash that subscribe button, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.